Eric Hirshberg. I'm the CEO of Activision Publishing.
So let's talk a little about the Skylanders franchise over the last 3+ years. Give us an idea of how popular it is out there.
It's been a phenomenon. It's disrupted two different industries, both the toy industry and the video game industry. And it's been a leading seller in both. It was the #1 kids property in the video game industry in the United States and Europe last year. And if you just judge Skylanders as an action figure line, if you just broke it away from the game itself, just the action figures themselves would be the #1 selling action figure line in the world, and it would actually have outsold the top 3 selling action figure lines combined. It was also the fastest third-party video game ever to cross that $2 billion threshold. So we're in some pretty rare company. It's one of the biggest 20 video game franchises in history, and it didn't even exist 3 years ago. So obviously it's got a lot of momentum.
Can you talk a little about what the goals have been going from game to game over the years?
We think that the Skylanders franchise is built on these kind of wow moments, and that's what the first game was. When kids first saw a toy come to life in a video game, their eyes popped out of their heads. And I think it would have been very easy for us to just incrementally improve it from there and just add more characters and add more levels. But we have chosen a different path, which is striving to come up with one of those wow moments each and every time. So for instance, last year we had swappability, where you could break the toys apart, recombine them into new characters that were unique to you, and then the game would recognize your choices in the digital world that you made in the physical world. So this year's no different. This year, for the last 3 years, we've been letting players bring toys to life inside the game, and this year we're letting them pull them out. And literally you can you not only defeat a villain with Skylanders Trap Team, but you can place a special crystal trap on the portal, and you can actually trap that villain in the trap, set it aside, and then when the time's right and when you choose, you can actually take that trap, put it back on the portal, release the villain back into Skylanders, but this time he's fighting for you. So it's capturing evil and unleashing good. It's a very cool mechanic, and as you saw, if you saw the event, when kids see it, they're literally looking at the trap, saying, "Is he in there? I can't see him." It's magical, and that's, we think, what our strategy has been and will continue to be, which is continuing to find ways to get kids to say, "Wow."
You guys are also using a multiple developer approach. Talk a little about Toys for Bob and their involvement originally with the series and how they've come back for this sequel.
Toys for Bob is the original innovators that brought toys to life with the original Skylanders Spyro's Adventure, and they also did the second game, Skylanders Giants. We realized we had a real hit on our hands, and we wanted to bring another developer into the fold for a couple of reasons. One is that these games take more than a year to develop. A game of this level of depth, with this many playable characters, and this level of innovation, you really want to give it the time to get to great and not rush it. So having multiple developers allows us to have a release once a year, but also to take 2 years to develop each game. So Vicarious Visions is a great developer. They've done a lot of wonderful games. Been part of the Activision family for a long time. We thought they'd be the great, kind of counterpart to Toys for Bob to, get involved with the franchise. And I think what happens, we've seen this on other franchises like Call of Duty, what happens is a great combination of both competition and collaboration, occurs. And it's something where when you have different creative minds and different creative groups who naturally have different ideas, different, styles, and yet they're both working on the same franchises, that franchise grows in its personality, in its diversity, and in its innovation. So we've seen that happening thus far, and to great effect. So Toys for Bob, I think each game has been the best one in the franchise each time out. I think the original Skylanders Spyro's Adventure was great. I think Giants topped it. I think Swap Force brought it to a whole nother level, and now Toys for Bob is back at the helm, and I think we'll do it again with Trap.